Now we'll see how to write algorithm for this particular selection sort. See here, now we are starting with the first element. You are taking first element as a minimum, second element as a minimum, third element as a minimum, fourth element as a minimum. That is, I starts from 1, 2, 3, 4. That is what we have written here. For I is equal to 1 to n minus 1. When n is equal to 5, you are going from I to 1 to n minus 1. 1, that is I 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 4 is n minus 1, 5 minus 1. That is you are doing it like here. This is a for loop for this. You are doing this iteration, 4 iteration. That is why this particular for loop for I is equal to 1 to n minus 1. What you are doing is minimum is equal to I. See, initial case you are taking this particular first element as a minimum position. This minimum is equal to 1 means it's a position. It's representing the position. Minimum is equal to 1. Second time you are taking minimum is equal to 2, second position. Third place you are taking minimum is equal to 3. Fourth you are taking minimum is equal to 4. That is why it is minimum is equal to I. For j is equal to I plus 1 to n. See here, for j is equal to I plus 1 means, here you can say when I is equal to 1, j starts from here. J starts from, this is I, j starts from here. That means you are comparing this element with this. You are comparing this element you are considered as a minimum element, and this is the j elements here. What you are doing is you are comparing a of j with the minimum element. A of j is the minimum element. That is 3 with 7. 3 is less than 7, yes, then a of minimum becomes 3 and minimum position becomes j. Then can you see, you are comparing a of j with the minimum element, and once you find that the a of j element is a minimum, you are changing minimum as j. So you can see here, 3 is less than 7, that is a of j is less than a of minimum, then a of minimum you change, minimum position you change as 2. See, this position you change as 2. Now a of minimum becomes how much? 3. Again 3 is compared with rest of the a of j element. How much? 5 is compared with 3, that is a of j. 5 is compared with 3, no. 1 is compared 3. 1 is less than a of minimum, that is here. 1 a of j is less than a of minimum means 1 is less than 3, yes. That time you are changing minimum is minimum position you are changing. Minimum is equal to j. Minimum position you are changing to j, that is here 4. At last, once you find the minimum element, you are swapping it. Swapping the minimum element with the what? Ith element. Can you see that you are swapping the minimum element with ith element? You can see over here. So I hope this you understood. This for loop is because this for loop is for this one. I is equal to 1, I is equal to 2, I is equal to 3, I is equal to 4. That is 4 times you are taking these elements for outer for loop. Inner loop, this 4 minimum is equal to you are taking as I, that is you are taking this position as minimum in the case, this one. In the second case you are taking second position is a minimum, third position is minimum is 3, and fourth position minimum is 4. And j is equal to I plus 1. See, every time when I is equal to 1, j starts from here. Starting from this element, you are comparing from this element to what? 2, 3, 4, 5. How many comparison you do? 4 comparison till n. That is what? I plus 1 to n. That is I plus 1. J starts from 2 to 3. For I is equal to 1, j starts from 2, 3, j becomes 2, j becomes 3, j becomes 4. You are comparing this element with this element, this element, and this element, and this until n. And I is equal to 2, j starts from 3, and you are comparing with this element, and this element. And I is equal to 3, j start from here because you are comparing this element with this, right? This element and this element. So that's what you are doing. What is the comparison you are doing? You are comparing a of j with the a of minimum element. That is what you are doing. A of j with the minimum element. In this case, minimum was firstly you have taken 7 as minimum and a of j is 3. Comparing 3 with the 7, that is a of j is compared with minimum element. Once you find the minimum element, you are changing the minimum position. Therefore, here the minimum is how much? Minimum is equal to 2. We change the minimum position. Now next time what you are doing? Again the minimum element becomes 3 and comparing with the rest of the j element. That is why this particular loop is. Okay. I think you understood this particular algorithm.